Oj buluzi czerwona kalina pochyliła się. Czego nasza sławna Ukraina zaszczyliła się. A my twoją czerwoną kalinu підіймемо. A my naszą sławną Ukrainę, hej, hej, rozweselimo. Happy Independence Day or National Day for Ukraine. Hopefully you can still celebrate this day to next year. Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and that was just something for the pro-Ukrainian crowd, especially the Ukrainians that are going through these hard times, being under an invasion from a foreign force. But regardless, I really like that song a lot, although I don't really take sides in this conflict. And this is the summary for the day of 181 for the 23rd of August. So we are already in the early mornings of 25th of August. It's actually 7 a.m. or 7 a.m. For the 25th. But there is no information coming out for the 24th just yet. So I think I should cover the 23rd first so that we don't miss out information or get very confused about the things that's happening between the 2 days. So let's start off with the Southern Front. Before I start off to the front line, there are information that the Antonovsky Bridge is back online. So I just going to delete all this information. From information received on the Twitter messaging, someone sent me a video of the footage of the bridge, a car moving across the bridge, and then the bridge is fully patched back. So the bridge is back. So yeah. So moving on to the Mykolaiv Front, and Mykolaiv Front, there is no offensive other than the one that was reported previously, where the Russians actually created an additional buffer from Andriivka all the way to the border of Mykolaiv Oblast. There are information that the Ukrainian forces that were defeated from this area retreated to Luparevi. Otherwise, we don't have any other ground offensive. You can see that it's mostly just bombardments. And there's a bombardment reported at Zasillya. So at Zasillya, which was previously I mapped it as under Russian control based on the Russian Ministry of Defense mapping, and because of this information, because the mapping is not very reliable, so because of this reported bombardment on Zasillya, I've given this back to the Ukrainian control. So which do make sense because Pervomaiske is under Ukrainian control, and for a town or village so near to the other town that's under Ukrainian control, yeah, there's reasons to believe that this is definitely under Ukrainian control. This as reported yesterday. So we have bombardment all along the entire front, as per usual. And there is a very weird report from the Russian Ministry of Defense. The Russian Ministry of Defense reported a shelling or a destruction of ammunition depot at Snihurivka in the Mykolaiv region. So even if it's near Snihurivka, that will still be a bit weird. So Snihurivka is under Russian control, and this information just kind of like just stir everything up, making it very confusing. So now I have put this question mark. Is Snihurivka actually under Ukrainian control now? So that's why there is this overlapping border around here. So, but I think that maybe it's just near and then not really at Snihurivka. So a very weird statement coming out from the Russian Defense Ministry. So all the grey out ones are the previous days shelling that was not reported today. So in case you're wondering. And then we have information of fighting reported at Blahodativka as well as at Andriivka. So these two locations is reported to yesterday also by the Ministry of Defense of Russia firstly, and then it was repeated by Ryba, the pro-Russian sources, and it shows the way it is written is that the Ryba say that there is Russian troops in the battle, so which means that this is a ground offensive, which is why I added the icon of fighting at these locations. And then this put into question because they said that Ukrainian forces suffered losses and retreated over to the other side of the Inhulet River, which means that there is a possibility where Andriivka is actually captured by the Russian forces. And this is actually corroborated with the fact that there is no more bombardment reported on Andriivka yesterday, and it's only reported at Lozove, only Lozove. This is by the Ukraine Defense Ministry. None is reported for Andriivka. And then the Russian Ministry of Defense reported yesterday that there is a fighting reported near Lozove, and this is actually happened. I think this is not 23rd. This is actually 24th. So this happened when the Ukrainian forces tried to cross the river stealthily, and then they got discovered, and then somehow they got defeated. They didn't mention how they are defeated. Is it by artillery shelling, or is it because there are Russian troops over on the other side? But it sounds like there is a significant loss on the Ukrainian side. 80 troops and 6 vehicles has been destroyed in this crossing, and this might also suggest that Lozove might also be captured by the Russian forces. Not sure if this is the case, but there might be some possibility that this could be the case. Otherwise, there is no other fighting reported in the Davydiv Brid Front. Over here at the Kryvyi Front, the Ukrainians launched an offensive against the Russian position at Vysokopillya. So according to the pro-Russian source Ryba, they reported that units of the armed forces of Ukraine tried to storm the positions of the Russian troops at Vysokopillya, and the attack did not succeed, and then but then which means still that we have indicated the fighting here, and otherwise there is bombardment across the entire Kryvyi Front, and this one I have already reported. So yeah, so there is bombardment across the entire front here, and there is a bombardment also on Novomykhailivka bridge at the Kakhovka hydroelectric power plant. So according to the pro-Russian source Ryba, this one is on the 24th. This shelling is on the 24th. There is several explosions heard, and the target is again the bridge here, over here, this bridge. So they are still trying to disable this bridge. Unfortunately, it seems like it will be in vain because we have information that Antonovsky bridge is back online. So I will look for more information and see whether I can get the video with a corroborated with a source that I know that is reliable, and then I can show you the video, maybe the next summary. Zaporizhzhia. So at the Enerhodar region, at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant region, there is still shelling reported at Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, and the pro-Russian source Ryba reported that there is counter battery actions from the Russian side. Sorry, this is wrong color. The Russians counter battery actions against Ukrainian artillery at Nikopol, at Chevonohrivka, as well as at Mahanets. So these three locations were shelled by the Russian forces. Over at the Zaporizhzhia Line, there is no ground offensive. There's no ground offensive except that there are still artillery shellings across the entire front line. And of significance, there is this dispute on Mali Shcherbaky. So Ukrainian Ministry of Defense reported shelling at Mali Shcherbaky, and this actually caused a conflict of claims, whether if this is actually under Russian or Ukrainian control. So otherwise, everything as per normal, shelling everywhere. And that's all from the Zaporizhzhia line. And coming to the Donetsk Front. At the Donetsk Front, this is Donetsk City, Donetsk Oblast. At the Donetsk Front, where the main actions are, yesterday we have reported that, the day before we have reported Zolota, Nyva has been fighting. So this is because this is the 23rd summary, so this is still relevant. And there is a shelling reported at Soledar. So otherwise, the fighting previously reported at Novomykhailivka, I didn't have more new information. And then bombardments continue along all the front line. This one also reported yesterday. This is also yesterday. There is reported fighting at Nevelske. So according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry, they said that there is offensive battles in the direction of Nevelske. So there is no success according to the Ukrainians. Shelling is at Nevelske. This is an airstrike on Nevelske, which means that the Russians are closing in on Nevelske, which is why instead of artillery shelling, now we are seeing airstrikes. So maybe things are getting really tight over here. And there is shelling on the rear in Lozove, which means that there might be a attempt to silence some of this either Ukrainian artillery, or it could be to destroy some of these reinforcements or supply lines behind Nevelske. There is this very weird way of writing from the Ukrainian Defense Ministry that they say that there is offensive battle in the direction of Pisky. So, but it's unlikely because Pisky is already captured by the Russian forces. So maybe the direction is just in the area of Pisky. I don't think there is any indication that the Ukrainians have recaptured Pisky. So I think this is just just a means of making things a bit confusing, especially it's a Ukrainian National Day. So there is still bombardments in this area. So maybe there is some Ukrainian counter-offensive that we are not seeing or getting reported. Over here at Opine, there is no new offensive being reported. You can see everything is grayed out. Nothing at Andriivka, and you can also see that there is some Ukrainian bombardments over at Yasinovata, Makiivka, and Donetsk. So all this information is coming from Donetsk People's Republic official report, and you can see that there is some information, and they are very specific. They say what kind of artillery, 152 or is it 155 or 122. They actually are very specific in the information about the shelling. So very professional in that sense. And no new information about Krasnohorivka over here. There is shelling at Novomykhailivka as well by the Ukrainians. And the offensive towards New York has died out. We didn't hear anything about them anymore. So shelling continues in this region of Torets and Zalysne. And the fighting reported at Mayos is reported in the previous summary already. We didn't have any new information about this. And there is shelling at Kryvyi, which also suggests that this is the target of the objective of the Russian forces now. Given that they don't shell anything else, only here, so they are actually moving towards this direction. Fighting is reported at Kodema. So now we are at Bakhmut front. This is Bakhmut town. Fighting is now at Kodema. And they no longer talk about directions. The Ukraine Defense Ministry simply say in the direction of Kodema. And the fighting at Zaitseve is reported by Ryba. And this information is the same information that we are getting from in the previous summary. So there is nothing particularly new about most of these reports of fighting. Fighting continues at Soledar. Fighting continues at this Bakhmut. At Bakhmut, no new information about Bakhmut. It's the same piece of information. And fighting continues at Bakhmutske. This is reported by the Ukraine Defense Ministry. And fighting continues at Soledar as well. Similarly, the information is very similar. No new information about this. And so fighting is reported at Yakovlivka. Zasillya is great. It's not new information. We continue to see shelling reports on Blahodativka. So maybe there is indeed a strong Ukrainian position around here where the Russians are trying to push them off. And they are now in the Siversk Front. At the Siversk Front, everything went quiet. The only thing that's happening is there's shelling at Siversk, where counter artillery shellings are reported, I believe. Let me see. Yeah, 4 platoons of Grad multiple launch rocket system near Siversk and blah 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 were fired upon. So it's being suppressed. So there's only a counter artillery action at Siversk and there's shelling reported at Zakine, and that's all from the Siversk front. So suddenly the fighting seems to suddenly slow down a bit. Not sure if it's a result of maybe it's time for troop rotation again from the Russian side. Might be the case. We're not so sure. We will see in the today's report for the fighting on yesterday on the 24th to see if there's indeed a sudden slowdown or reduction in offensive action from the Russian side. That might actually suggest troop rotation. Or maybe they are celebrating holiday, the Ukrainian holiday. So there is okay, at Izyum Front. So now we are at Izyum Front. There is a fighter, the Su-27, getting shot down over Barvinkove or Barvinkove. So it's a Su-27 and shot down by air defense. So that's all. So there is still some aircraft around, and there is report for the 24th, which I'm not reporting in this report. I'm waiting for official information coming from the Russian Ministry of Defense, where the airbase is struck. So which means that there are still Ukrainian aircraft, but they're not sending them out in significant ways. So maybe to preserve them for maybe newer weapons, maybe the entire hype about the HARMS missile, the anti-radar missiles, maybe they're waiting for the supplies to come. Who knows? That might be the case. Fighting is reported near Blahodativka, where Russian reconnaissance troops head towards Blahodativka, and they got discovered and they fled. Bombardment at Krasnohorivka and the Mazanivka. The fighting at Dubrovnik is already grayed out. So these two are grayed out. So there's no new fighting reported over here at Izyum region. Very quiet now, which is why it reinforced my point about there might be some kind of troop rotation starting to kick in on the front lines. So we shall see, in the next report. I will report it maybe in 12-14 hours from now. So give some time for this particular summary for people to understand, and anyway, so that I can also have a bit more buffer time to get more information to see what else I can add on to the summary. Shelling reports returns to the Zasillya area, and but then no ground offensive, and they are now at the Kharkiv front. Kharkiv front. I don't know why I like to do this, but Kharkiv front. So at the Kharkiv front, and shelling is reported, in multiple locations. I can see that in this area, this Pushkarny is shelled. I think I have never saw this location being shelled, and Vasilivka is getting shelled as well. So sometimes I do wonder, what are the Russians actually doing, with this level of shelling? Is there really that many Ukrainian troops, around all this entire front line where they are consistently shelling? Or they're so well entrenched that typical shellings, don't really do much damage? That might be also the case. So there is no ground offensive reported in the Kharkiv front. There is shelling reported at Bostrova. So because of this shelling at Bostrova, reported by the Ukraine Defense Ministry, that this also brings up another dispute, whether Bostrova is actually under Ukrainian control. So a lot of dispute coming out, especially when I start to focus on all these shelling reports. I start to indicate, all these conflicting positions start to, become more, stuck. So otherwise, there is just shelling at Ruski Lozove, Rudianka. This is what location it is, Karazivka, as well as Enerhodar. So otherwise, there is no other new information. Also, sometimes I also do consider if this is the correct Enerhodar that is getting shelled, or could the Ukrainians have recaptured Enerhodar and actually the shelling is here. I'm not sure. Actually, I'm not sure, because Ukrainian Defense Ministry do not release maps, so we cannot really tell which Enerhodar is getting bombarded by the Russians. So very quickly, this is the end of the summary. Only 22 minutes. Yeah, and I spent like one minute singing. So anyway, this is the summary for the day of 181 for the 23rd of August, and hopefully you don't hate my singing. And do press the like button to share this with your contacts. Maybe today's report is very boring, so don't share this to your friends, and I'll see you in the next update.